Hi guys, I'm Ahana and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first video I'm super excited to be posting, and the reason I'm doing this is because we have all you amazing people who signed up to the Haut newsletter, and I sat down, started writing and realized it might be a little dry to send this really long email update, so I figured I'd just jump on in front of the camera and tell you what we've been up to. My co-founder Ben and I have spent the last month coding away, but Haut is almost out. And this video is really just going to serve as an introduction of who we are, especially for everyone just joining us, and update as to what we did last month and the plans for next month looking forward. I really just wanted to do this because I think it helps so much with accountability and seeing what did I say I'd do last month and did I actually do it? And sending this to you guys, you can keep me accountable too. I started Haut with my co-founder Ben. I've known Ben for almost 4 years now. We met when we started our physics degrees at Imperial in 2017. Haut is a skincare routine tracking and sharing platform. I came up with the idea because I myself have struggled with acne for such a long time. There's certainly a lot of content out there and many amazing people who share their advice and tips, but there's no nice way of digesting this content. What we do on Haut is we make it super easy to find people with your skin type. Rather than seeing heavily filtered content or a high-level summary of how someone found a product, you can see day in, day out what was this person using that actually solved that problem. As I mentioned at the start, Ben and I have had our heads down coding the app for the last month, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster. There was a really steep learning curve at the beginning, just because even though Ben and I can code and we've got physics degrees, all of the coding we learned was firstly in Python and secondly in a data analysis context. Neither of us have extensive app development experience, but the thing that was good is that we learned how to learn quickly. Ben and I just had to upskill really quickly, but in hindsight, it was the best decision we could have made. Firstly, just having control over the outcomes has made things just so much less frustrating. Being able to say, all right, this week I'm going to achieve X, Y, Z no matter what. And I think secondly, just having the confidence to say, you know what, I know this full tech stack and I built it myself and I taught myself how to do this in a month's time. Just mentally and from a confidence perspective, it's helped us so much. Knowing that we're not reliant on anybody else for it is a huge bonus to doing things this way as well. So really happy with that decision and so happy to say that we're on track because I wasn't sure if we would be, but we are. And following this period, we'll move on to beta testing. So next month will really be about beta testing, making the first iteration before we launch publicly. I will be leading the customer side of the beta testing and Ben will be maintaining his focus on the tech side still, ironing out the bugs, adding in pieces of functionality and tweaking things accordingly before we launch publicly. In terms of the beta testing, we have an amazing beta community that we actually set up back in January. These are people I'd actually already engaged with on various skincare forums and communities. Myself, having suffered with acne for such a long time, I was already in a lot of these groups, and I think now it's really sweet because they were with us from the start of our journey and they've seen how we've progressed from then until now and built up the idea and built the product ourselves. So super excited for them to see the new version. But also we've got some new beta testers that we're really excited to welcome to the community. And it'll be interesting to see how the old group of beta testers react to this version versus the new group, because the old group kind of knew what we were working on and what our goal was, what we set out to do. But the new joiners to our community really don't know what we're doing. We've purposely kept it a bit vague. So really curious to see how the two groups react, and that's definitely something we'll take into consideration when we decide the feedback to implement and to spot what the trends are. In the beta testing itself, I'll be conducting the interviews with the users. I think next week I have back-to-back calls the entire day. Once we've had these hour-long interviews with them, we'll go through all the feedback, try and pick out the key insights from all the different conversations, and then formulate that into a larger spreadsheet, figure out what the underlying trends are, who's saying what. And then the last step of that is really just to turn it into actionable points, put issues on GitHub for Ben to implement in the app. Really crucial for us to get this beta testing done well because we're so lucky to have this amazing community already built up. But we want to make sure that the app is to as high a standard as it can be, which I know is conflicting to a lot of advice of just get something out there as soon as possible, which I understand to some extent, but given that for the problem that we're solving, creating a nice app almost solves part of the problem, because there is no nice way of tracking your skincare routine and finding other people with the same skin type as you. Given that that is the case, we've made a conscious effort to take care of the UX and the look and feel and design of the app while still maintaining full functionality. Something that worked super well for us back in January with our beta testing was we created this matrix of assumptions, certainty of assumption versus impact of assumption, and we wrote down these questions that weren't leading, and we were very specific about that. There's a book called The Mum Test, which we were recommended about 1,000 times before we actually read it, because we figured if everyone's recommending this to us, we should probably read it. And after reading it, we saw why we were recommended it so many times. It is so helpful, so if you haven't, I would certainly recommend you check it out as well. So we took all these assumptions and we figured out, all right, what question do we need to ask to get the answer to this? For example, if one of our assumptions was people use their phone in the morning, rather than asking, do you use your phone in the morning? We'd say, tell me what you do in the morning. Another thing that we'll be doing in the next month is really nailing down our marketing strategy and user acquisition strategy once we have launched. And that's going to have two key components. The thing that I'm most excited about is to work with some of my favorite skincare influencers and really connect with their following and their communities as well. There are so many skincare influencers that I absolutely love. I've been watching their videos for years and I've learned so much from them, and I've already spoken to some of my favorite influencers in the field, so the next month will really be about engaging them and figuring out what the best joint strategy is moving forward and how we can both help each other's audiences. A really common problem that I've seen is that these skincare influencers, they get sent so many products, but there's no way of them to track things unless they're really, really good and keep a pen and paper diary. But if they can keep a logbook of what they've been using on Haut, and if their followers can actually see day in, day out, they've used this product, they're not being sponsored, they are as genuine as they seem, then it really helps them as well, and it builds so much trust within this community that's already very strong and very transparent. But it really proves that these people are genuine and really are trying product. With something like skincare, it's super important that the reviews are genuine, because you're applying things to your face. You can have bad consequences if you use things that aren't right for you or meant for a different skin type or to address a different skin concern. The fact that we'll be building credibility, transparency in that sense will help both sides, both on the content creator side but also on the user and everyday person side. We'll also be posting to our Instagram page, so go follow it if you haven't already, and that's going to have some skincare routine videos and general skincare tips, advice. I think it's just really nice to see real people, what they've been going through and what they've been sharing, and it's very much aligned to our strategy as a brand. We're all about transparency. Even in the app, the thing that's unique is that you can see day in, day out, what did someone use to fix their skincare issues. And so I think having these people on our Instagram talking about their real experiences, it really speaks for who we are and what we stand for. There's a lot of Instagram pages that use Instagram so effectively to market. We'll really be taking inspiration from them and figuring out how best to engage our audience, and then most importantly, how to get them from our Instagram to download the app. I'm so excited about this project and so grateful that I can share this with you right from really very early in our journey. I'm going to be filming these update videos once a month. It'll be really interesting to check in next month and see if we actually delivered on what we set out to do, whether we got all those beta tests done and whether we put the feedback back into the app. Otherwise, I'm going to be using this channel as just a way to document our own experience, our own journey, inviting some special guests and some amazing friends that I've made through this process. And if you want to stay updated with everything Haut, subscribe down below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.